Broke Ride Media.
You're now listening to The Str8shooter Show with your host, the Str8shooter.
All right. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. We certainly appreciate it. We don't have a guest today, so we're going to do just a couple of emails, and then Zach's going to ask me some questions about me, and he has not told me what he's going to ask me. And I may not even answer some of them. Depends on what he has to say.
No, you're going to answer all of them.
We will see.
I just wanted to make this show because I don't feel like we've taken the time out to actually get to know you, and I feel like that's what your fans would love to see, is to kind of get to know you as a person a little bit better. And I have some questions, some things that you've said in previous episodes that I've been wanting to ask you about, and I just forget or we don't have time. And so I'm excited to talk to you about that. But you want to just jump into the emails real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So you remember Anonymously Me? Mm-hmm. You remember her, the email she created to be anonymous?
53-year-old.
Yep, looking for a date. So she sent an email in just as an update and a response to what we said to her email before. So
okay.
She said, "Dear Str8shooter, thank you for sharing my question on the podcast. You are fantastic and I enjoy every week. You give me great advice. I had not considered renting out my home or them renting out, selling their house, and keeping the money for the just-in-case moment. I would absolutely be in agreement. I've run across men who feel because I think this way, I'm not fully committed. That simply wasn't the situation at all. I absolutely anticipate that my next commitment will be for the rest of my life. I want to live with my man and share my everyday with him. At this point, at this age, we've worked hard for what we have now, and it's time to live it up, so to speak. I have several hard stops. Like you mentioned in the podcast today, I don't want to date someone with young kids or with a lot of debt. I don't want to date someone who is financially dependent on me. Thank you for validating my thought process. Sharing your goals gave me hope that there is the right person out there who shares my desires. Thanks again for your time. I hope you're encouraged to continue to pursue your passion. You're changing lives and giving people hope. Sincerely, Anonymously Me."
Well, it sounds to me like me and Anonymously Me want the same. You don't live in Oklahoma City, do you?
I was actually thinking that same thing. I was like, man, if only she lived in Oklahoma. What if she does? What would you do? Would you be open to going on a date with her?
I'm sure we could have a dinner.
I put you on the spot there, didn't I? Yeah. Okay, anonymously Me. If you're in Oklahoma, then give me an email and I'll make him go on a date with you. How about that?
I didn't really think that through when I said it. I wasn't like trying to turn this into matchmaker date.
Well, you forgot I have her email and I can set it up. You know how I set you up as guests on podcasts and stuff like that? I'm going to start being your matchmaker too and be like, "Hey, Jason, you have a podcast appearance on March 15th at 10 a.m. and you also have a date with Anonymously Me at 10 p.m. or at 7 p.m. that night." So I can do it. You just say the word. I'll be matchmaker. Boom. I don't think you want me to be, though, because I would just be sending you on dates all the time, left and right. And you'd be like, "Zach, that was a guy." All right. Next email's from Lisa White. She said, "Good morning. I've been single this time for probably 5 years. I'm getting anxious because I'm almost 50 and definitely not as cute as I used to be. In my head, I have to accept being single and be thankful for it while working on myself, which I am doing. It's just really hard watching all these couples in my life and knowing they have something that I want so badly. Thanks in advance, Lisa."
I feel you, Lisa. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, I'm almost 52. Not 52, but 50 also. And it can be tough. I mean, I did a video a few weeks ago about, what was it? Soulmates, that I didn't believe that everybody had like a particular person that was born to be with them and that's their one and only soulmate, I think that anybody can be your soulmate that wants the same things out of life that you want, and falls in love with you, you fall in love with them, and you both work together for those things that you want. Your best friend, your the person that you want to hang out with, that you want to spend all your time with. And so while it's been 5 years, and I know dating life can get extremely exhausting, and probably, I'm sure in 5 years, you've probably taken several breaks from dating because it is exhausting. I would only urge you to stay the course, continue to work on yourself like you said you are. I know it can get anxious, but try to just remind yourself, well, I'm not settling, for anybody. At our age, we're almost 50, we got no time to waste with people that are not for us. And so while I agree, it can be exhausting, you stay the course, and you will find the person. Again, there could be 1,000 in your area that you live in right now that are looking for the exact same thing you are, and any one of them can be your soulmate. You just have to find them, and sometimes that takes longer than others.
I actually 100% agree with that there's not just one soulmate. It's about being compatible, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I think it's probably impossible to find somebody that's exactly compatible with you to where like everything. So there is going to have to be some compromise. Like that's where I feel like I got in relationships with women, right? That went into it. And on the first date, I probably should have ran immediately when I heard this, where women say, I want the fairy tale. I want the fairy tale. I want the rainbows. I want those flares and those sparks and that thing that ignites me and goes forward. And I thought about it at the time, and I probably should have ran there, because that doesn't exist, man. It doesn't. You can have a 90% compatibility rate, but there's going to be 10% that's not all fairy tales and rainbows and stuff like that. You're going to have to compromise on some things.
That's where the work comes.
Right. That's where you have
two people working toward that relationship.
Now, should you date someone that you have a 40% compatibility with? No. I mean, you want to shoot for the 80-90%, where 80-90% of the things that you want are compatible, but you're going to have 10. Yeah. And you've got to do that. It's not all butterflies and rainbows. And what I was going to say about her is, I know you're in your 50s, but
she's nearly 50.
Yeah. But that could be a good thing. That could be a good thing, because you're going to meet somebody that's 50 that's also tired of the bullshit, so to speak. And they're going to be looking for the same things as you are. Right. So you just got to be patient and find that person. And if you're not putting yourself out there and putting yourself into a position to where you can meet somebody, then that's going to be bad too. But a break isn't bad.
And Lisa, if you didn't hear the last episode, it was the last episode from Anonymously Me, which she was on. I read her email in the last one.
I believe so. Yeah.
If you hadn't heard last week's episode, number 14, I think.
14.
Go back and listen to number 14 to make sure that on your process of trying to find who you're going to spend from now on with, that you're going over the, you got your checklist. You've got your hard stops, what you're willing to accept and not, so that you can weed people out real fast. I mean, if you go to dinner with somebody and you've got 6 things that, you can kind of casually bring up that are really, really important to you, that you want to know where they stand, and you bring it up casually in conversation, and out of those 6 things, they're only, got one of them going for them, cut that guy out. Just don't. I mean, don't proceed, because you're not going to change those other 5 things, especially at our age.
No.
Most all of us are pretty set in our ways. So you got to find somebody who has set in their ways very similar to what you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Set in their ways. Just like with my wife, right? Mm-hmm. She's definitely 90% compatibility with me, but there's that 10% that she's not, right?
Right.
And in the beginning, I was like, focused on trying to change that 10% about her. I was like, well, we could change these things. And then I thought about it. I was like, that's not good. You can't change a person, right? It's up to me to be able to deal with that, because what she's doing is not bad.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's just her. You see what I'm saying? Like me, I manage the finances. I manage everything that regarding something that needs energy and stress. Well, my wife is just like in the clouds and just doesn't give a crap about nothing. She's just very relaxed, calm, and stuff like that. Well, instead of me wishing she would care more about that stuff, I just remove that from her altogether, and I'll be the one that cares about it, you know? And then she can be herself the way she is. I can't expect her to care more, because I cannot change that about her. It's not that she doesn't care. It's just that she's not very diligent about it. She's not like super energetic about making sure bills get paid and stuff like that. She's like, oh, you got it, you know? Or if we don't have the money for it this month, it's okay, we'll figure it out, you know? And it's like, somebody needs to be aggressively figuring this stuff out. Right. And instead of wishing she would change, I'll do it. You see what I'm saying? And she can be herself, and then I can be myself. Nobody has to change. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, just had a conversation with one of my best friends. He was best man in my first wedding. And when I had proposed to my first wife, I told him, you know, during the engagement period, I'm like, you know, we get along really. I mean, we have a lot of fun together. We really did. My first wife and I did before we got married. We had a lot of fun together. There was a few things about her that just drove me insane. And one was she didn't clean house, would not clean house. She would like eat a candy bar and leave the wrapper on the coffee table. And if I didn't pick it up, it would stay there for months if I didn't.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. She just would not. You know, I did 99% of the laundry. I did 90% of the cooking. I did all the housework. And I worked, and she did not. When I married her, she did not work.
Now, that's different.
And it drove me insane.
Yes.
She ended up going through, I mean, I put her through LPN school. She became an LPN. She started working right at the end of the marriage. But my buddy, in talking about women and dating now, you know, he's like, you know, I'll never forget you telling me before you married that girl, you know, you said it drove you crazy that she wouldn't clean house. And he told me then, he's like, man, that's really just one thing. I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, you can live with that one thing, but that was one thing that just the entire marriage drove me insane, that she would not, it didn't matter what I said or what I did, she was not going to do any of those household chores.
Well, and I'm sure with her personality being that way, I'm sure that wasn't the only thing that was similar to that drove you crazy. There was things stemming from that drove you crazy, because that's different, where I said you should just let that person be themselves.
Yeah, I know.
That's different, because that's basically her not pulling her weight.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's okay to expect your significant other to pull their weight, even if it's a guy that's sitting at home. Maybe he's disabled or something. And I mean, not obviously, just maybe he could still do stuff, but he's not working.
Right.
And if he's not cleaning, you should not deal with that. He should be doing stuff. He should be pulling their weight. If everybody needs to be pulling their weight. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to be upset about that.
Well, I'm just saying the whole point in that was having your things that, you know, that are important to you, you know.
Yeah.
There was another girl later in life that I realized I never even got to see inside her house. It was only 2 or 3 weeks, but she didn't want me to go inside her house. And I'm like, why? And, you know, what's in there? What's going to get me? you know? And she's like, well, there's been some renovation, and it's just, and I'm like, no, I'm not buying the renovation. I mean, anybody can.
She probably doesn't take care of it.
Exactly. And then I had tried to start her car, and her car was not clean. And I was like, this girl's dirty.
What do you mean, like bottles all over the place?
No, there wasn't a lot of junk in there. It was like crumbs from food, but not like one day, like months. And I'm like, no. That this person is dirty, and I can't be with somebody like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not super clean, but I'm pretty clean. I mean, I pick up after myself. I clean, you know. Again, I don't keep things spotless, but I can't have clutter. And I'll vacuum my truck out every so often. This was beyond that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's why I was with somebody and I would be gone in the oil field for months at a time. And I bought this brand new car for her, you know, and it was a $30,000 car. And leather, it was nice. It was decked out and stuff like that. I was pretty proud that I was able to get that for my family.
Yeah.
And I come back after a couple months and there's literally like chocolate stain. I know we had little kids, little baby kids and stuff like that, but you can't tell me. I mean, if you actually go and clean your car, and even if it's just totally wrecked, you're not going to spend more than an hour cleaning it, and it's going to look fine. You don't have to detail it, but pick up the clutter and the trash and clean the chocolate off there. It's not going to take you but an hour.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's okay to be upset about stuff like that, you know?
Or to not want to be with somebody. I mean, if you, you know, if you are a somewhat clean person, or if you're a very clean person, you're not going to be very happy with somebody that doesn't care about that, you know.
No, because there's going to be other things just like that. That's going to be like that. There's going to be other things. It's not going to just be that one thing, you know.
Right.
It sets a precedence of what that person lives their life like.
Yeah.
And if you're not okay with a lackadaisical person, then but then again, if a lackadaisical person is with another lackadaisical person, then they're both just going to live in a shitty house. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know what you do there. I think the lackadaisical person should probably work on being a little more punctual and using their time a little better.
Probably so. But me in my 40s, not interested in training somebody. So
exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So let's go. I want to go back to something you said in, I don't know, it was like 4 episodes ago, something I've been interested in. You just kind of casually threw out a story when you were a kid about how you almost got abducted.
Well, that part of the story was very, very, in my mind, it was a very small part of I was a hellion I was a hellion all my life, you know, growing up. And my parents had taken me to the state fair. I wanted some candy. They had we walked in this building and they had like one of these booths that had all these different kinds of candy and fudge and chocolate and everything. And
how old were you, by the way?
I'm going to say maybe like 5, probably.
Dang, okay.
5 or 6 probably. And anyways, I saw that was the first thing we saw when we walked in, and I'm like, I want the candy, and my parents were telling me, no, come on, you know, we're not stopping at that booth right now. I somehow got away from them. I went to the booth, and I think they kept walking like he's gonna, you know, he's not gonna stay, he's gonna come with us, because when he sees us walking, he'll just come on. And I didn't. And when I did finally turn around, I couldn't find him. I didn't see him anywhere. So I take off walking the same direction they were. I think they'd probably turned around to come back. Somehow I got past them. I couldn't find them. They couldn't find me. And I'm walking around this building, and I finally end up at this booth with these. I've always been a ladies' man too since I was 3. My whole life. And so I find this booth that's got like these caramel popcorn, and all this stuff. And it was like a Made in Oklahoma, you know, type family deal. And they had like 3 teenage daughters probably, or maybe they were friends. I don't know, but they were good looking. And then the mom, and they were selling this popcorn, and I'm like, I can't find my parents. And they were like, well, here, just stay here with us, and they'll probably come by, and we'll keep an eye out for them. And so I hung out with the girls at the popcorn booth. I don't know how long, a little while. It could have been an hour, could have been 2. I don't know. Yeah. But mom and dad never found me there. So they called the state fair, you know, like office, and said, hey, we got a lost kid over here at this booth. You want to come get the kid? So this guy comes and picks me up. He's carrying me to basically the lost and found. And on the way, this guy stops him, and he's like, oh, you found my son. And the guy said, is this your son? And he's like, oh, thank you for finding my son. And he said, is this your dad? And I was like, no. And he said, this is not your dad? And the guy was like, oh, don't tell him that. Don't tell him that I'm not your dad. Come on. And I said, that's not my dad. And so then the dude, he took off. And the guy took me on to the lost, and there was a bunch of kids in there. I mean, I wasn't the only lost kid. There was like dozens of kids in there that had been lost from their parents in this lost and found. And I fell asleep. I mean, I just fell asleep.
Was this guy white or
Yeah.
was he? I don't know why race matters, but I'm just trying to get a picture of what the guy. Do you remember what the guy looked like?
Vaguely. I mean, just kind of vaguely. He was white. He had dark hair.
Did he look like a
Normal guy. Just a normal guy.
like somebody that would look like a good dad?
Yeah. I mean, he just was a normal guy. But
Were you scared at the time that was going on?
a little shocked. I mean, I think I was kind of in shock.
Did you even realize what was happening, or was it later where you were like, "Holy
No, I
shit"?
think I did immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, I think I knew. What's this guy talking about?
Yeah, you realized
know?
he was trying to take you. Like, it makes me wonder if he got away with somebody that day.
He very possibly could have, or maybe he had before. Hell, he could have had 20 kids in his.
Do you ever think about like what would have happened if he would have been successful with you?
Never really even thought about what the outcome could have been. I mean, I've never put a lot of thought into it.
That's fucking scary, dude.
It is scary.
That's scary. Like, you could be dead right. That could have been the end of your life, man.
Yeah.
That's why you just casually skirted past that in the episode, and I was like, oh, well, I wanted to stop you and ask you about it right then, but then I was like, no, I'll wait, because that wasn't a part of the episode.
Right.
That's why whenever we talked about interviewing you, that's one of the first things I want to know about, because you just kind of passed it casually, but that's a big deal, dude.
Really is. Really is.
And just to think that kind of stuff goes on every day somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know if that guy got arrested, or did he just kind of skirt out of there?
Yeah, he was gone. And the guy that was carrying me was like, all right, here we go. And just like this conversation.
happened.
Yeah, this conversation never happened, and just took me on. Now, maybe he said something to somebody when we got back there, but as far as I know, that was it.
Didn't seem to care too much about it.
Nope. Here we go.
I wonder if that was just normal, if that happened a lot. And that guy was just like, oh, another human trafficking guy.
Yeah, I don't even know how my parents proved, that they were my parents when they got there, really. I mean,
Yeah.
Except I was asleep when they got there. I'd fallen asleep in this chair, and when I opened my eyes and saw my parents, I started crying. I was excited, happy to, I was just happy to see my parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was overwhelmed with emotion, that they were there to get me.
Were they pretty happy too?
They were crying. Well,
Yeah.
my mom, I don't know if my dad was. He might have been. My mom was very emotional.
Yeah.
Don't you ever walk away from us again.
Yeah. You talk a lot about your parents and how great they are and stuff like that, but you still kind of went down a bad path for a little while.
Yeah.
What was so great about your parents that made you admire them so much? Like, can you remember some specific things that they did with you that made them so great?
My parents did not really have a social life. I mean, we were it. Me and my sister were it for them. Dad didn't, he took me golfing. Occasionally he would go golfing. He didn't go golfing without me very often, growing up. So that was something he enjoyed to do was golf, but he took me with him. And he'd take me fishing. And I grew up, they owned a restaurant, when I was real young. And he became an assistant coach on the baseball team that I played for. I was a very successful baseball player. And we'd go out, like if we had a Friday night game, bunch of the parents would go out to eat, and they might drink a little beer, and all us boys would run around in the parking lot or out, whatever, just hang out together. But that was the extent of their social life and church, and everything else was focused on me and my sister.
So you kind of picked up on that. That's why you kind of admire them, because they spent so much focus on you. Yeah.
And if you ask anybody that knows my dad, anybody, family, people that he worked with, anybody will tell you that my dad is a man of amazing character, people aspire to be the kind of man that my dad is.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows him is like, that's a damn good man. He is just a good man.
Yeah.
And my mom, don't take anything away from my mom. I mean, Dad definitely takes care of Mom, has always taken care of Mom. He's been the leader of the family, the leader of his wife, my mom. He has guided her through life. She follows his direction because
that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
She knows that he is a man of great character, and he's going to lead her in the right direction. So.
Yeah. So how old were you when you think you started to turn things around? And do you remember why you did?
To not be a dick anymore.
Yeah, well, because you said you were crazy, but when I think of you, because I've gotten to know you pretty well, it seems like you probably drank and ran amok a little bit. Probably it was a little normal,
It wasn't normal.
No,
I drank in high school, I was drinking on weekdays. I drank all the time.
Yeah.
And, I used to drink and drive.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't know how I never went to jail, but, I probably got pulled over 30 or 40 times drunk and never got a DUI.
Was it because they didn't catch you, or was it because they just
the cops?
Yeah.
No, they would pull me over.
No, would they be able to tell you were drunk?
Yes. I was a gentleman when they would, come up to the truck, and I'd be, they'd say, how much have you had to drink? And I would always say, entirely too much.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bullshit you. I've been drinking all night. And they would either let me follow them to a payphone or follow them to a hotel. I'd get a room, or they would call let me call a friend to come pick me up. They always would work with me to get me home or to a place to sleep, instead of taking me to jail every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
A handful of times I just said, look, I got a credit card. I can get a room. There's a hotel. Can I just get a room? And they're like, yeah, let's, follow us to the hotel. And if we come by here and we see that truck is gone, we've got your tag number. We know where you live. We're coming to get you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll stay the night at the hotel.
That's the crazy thing because I was a cop for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And I've arrested hundreds of DUIs, right?
Yeah.
And every time people lie about the cop knows they're drunk. Most of the time, especially in the winter, for some reason, when there's heater blowing on inside the car.
Yeah.
By the time I get to the trunk of that person's car, I can smell that alcohol barreling out of the car. So it's not difficult, especially the longer you do it, to figure out if somebody's drunk, right?
Yeah.
And I had one guy one time, I went to the car and I was like, it was the strangest interaction I've ever had. But I had one guy, I was like, hey man, I'm just going to be honest with you, dude. I smell alcohol coming from the car pretty heavily. Have you been drinking? He goes, oh yes, sir. Yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, how much would you think you've had a drink tonight? And he said, oh, I'd say at least a half a bottle of Jack and a 12-pack of beer. I'm like, okay, because it was always 2 beers. That's what people say.
Right.
I've had 2 beers.
Yeah.
Every time. Well, when I first started my career, it was 1, and then it evolved to 2 for some reason. I guess people thought that, well, those cops are catching on to this 1 beer thing, so
right.
We'll move to 2,
right.
But he said he had a lot to drink, and I said, okay, well, are you feeling the effects off the alcohol right now? And he goes, oh yeah, yes sir, I'm pretty intoxicated. Right. I was like, okay. Do you think you should be driving? No, sir. Nope.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah. He goes, no, sir. And I was like, you know what, dude? I'm going to take you home. Where do you live? And he was like, what town are we in? And I was like, and I told him the town we're in, and he goes, oh, I thought I was in this town. And he said another town, and he couldn't tell me where. I ended up having to take him to jail because he literally couldn't tell me where he lived or have any friends. He was just so drunk he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But that was the one guy I wanted to let go.
Yeah.
And the way I was trained to be a cop, was to not give breaks, because you work that one accident where you scrape some dead kids off the pavement, then nobody gets a break anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, you were never into drugs or anything, right?
No, I'm like most people. I smoked a little pot in when I was young, but a couple of times, less than a dozen times, because I just didn't really care for it, and I didn't do any other drugs. A guy dropped a hit of acid in a beer on me one time, and I didn't know about it till hours after. I mean, I was already tripping by the time anybody told me that he had done that.
Was that scary?
It was horrifying.
Really?
Because I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I didn't, I was freaking out. I didn't know what's going on. And then this other guy told me, he's like, yeah, this other, that, what's his face? He dropped a hit of acid. And I'm like, why wouldn't you have told me that? Why would you let me drink it? If you knew that he did that, why did you do that? And
I'd have been pissed.
I was pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I told my parents about it. I mean, we'd been out all night. I mean, I get home at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke my parents up, and I'm like,
do I need to go to the hospital?
Yeah, this guy did this, and I don't know what's going on. And my parents were
highly pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed too, man. Like, hey, I mean, like, if I want to do drugs, that's cool. But if you do them without my permission, probably because they knew you weren't going to do it. And they, because I've been around friends and stuff like that are doing drugs, and they want you to do it with them so bad that they're willing to spike your crap, you know? That's so dumb, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I ran around with a lot of people that would, get into some pretty heavy drugs, but I guess I was smart enough to know my personality, that if I did something that I really liked, there would probably be no quitting for me,
really?
Until I died.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of how my personality. Yeah, I think I have a pretty addictive, personality.
I'm the same way. Just like now, I haven't drank in a couple of years, and I go, like tonight, I'm going to go out and watch the fights with some friends.
Yeah.
And my friends, now they know me as this squared away guy that's very disciplined and stuff like that.
Right.
And they don't know the addictive side of me because I've never showed that to them. But they don't understand why I can't just go out once a month and have a few beers and it be okay, because that's not me. Because if I were to have a few beers, then we're getting drunk, we're going to the strip club afterwards, we're going to hang out all night, we're going to get a hotel room, and then we're going to do that every weekend. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then that's just me. Like, I'm not just a one and done type of guy. They don't understand that.
Well, I have, I've gone through phases in my life where I didn't drink for several years, and then I would drink, I would drink again. And for the last several years, for the last 10 years anyways, I've been okay to drink. Now, sometimes I will drink too much on the occasion, like that day I'll drink too much, but then it's not like, I have to drink the next day or the next weekend or whatever. I don't have that in me. I'm like,
Has it always been that way?
That I would drink too much on the occasion.
Well, has it always been that way, or as you get older, like you don't feel the need to drink every weekend and stuff, or were you before?
Oh yeah, when I was younger, if my drinking plans got interrupted or something changed or I didn't have the money or whatever, I was highly upset that I wasn't going to get to party.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's a chance that someday, as I get older, I could enjoy a few drinks and then not have to worry about that.
Here's what I have done. If I ever, in my adult life, if I've ever gotten to a point where I was looking forward to the weekend or like I can't wait till tomorrow because I'm going to drink, if I ever had that go through my brain, I'd like, okay, it's time. I'm not drinking now.
Time to slow down, yeah.
I'm not drinking for a while. And so for the last 10 years, I can drink when I want to. Again, I'm not going to say I haven't drank too much like if I go to the lake, there's been times I drank too much at the lake. Maybe it was the sun, but I would drink too much for that day. I didn't stop when I should have or slow down or drink enough water or whatever. But like I have in the last 2 months, I've been trying to eat clean and trying to lose weight and stuff. I didn't drink not one drop for like 5 weeks. Then I took a 1 week break whenever the snow came. I had a few drinks one night, like 2 or 3. I didn't get drunk. I just had a few drinks. And then since that night, I haven't. So it's been like another month since I've had a drink. But I'm thinking about having a couple of drinks tonight. I may or may not, but it's not going to be. It's not an issue for me that I have to. Or I look forward to, it's just part of my life now.
Yeah, I may get that way, but I'm right now I'm at that point where I'm just scared. I'm scared if I do, I'll go back into a trend. So until I know I'm ready, I'm not doing it. If that's in 20 years, then it's in 20 years.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But so I wanted to move on because a lot of your listeners look up to you for relationship stuff. So I wanted to go over some history with your relationships and then get into where you're at now with it. So how old were you when you first got married? Your first marriage, how old were you?
Okay, well, I mean, I moved in with her when I was barely 21. I was 20 years old. I don't think I'd turned 21 yet when I moved in with her, but I didn't actually marry her until I think I was 20. I think I was 24 when I married her, pretty sure. So
and you've been married 3 times, right?
Right.
And so how long were you married to your first one?
Well, I divorced her when I was 29 or 30.
Damn, so you were in for almost 10 years with her.
Yeah.
Good grief. And then did you just jump right into your second marriage?
Immediately. I wasn't even divorced from her. We were split up, and I got my son's mom pregnant. And,
immediately.
Yeah,
so,
and I mean, she was pregnant before the divorce was final for my first one. And then, I made that decision to either be a weekend dad or try to make this work with her. And, well, we didn't get married immediately. She moved in with me. As soon as my son was born, she moved in with me. And, or before, about 3 weeks before he was born, maybe a month, she moved in with me. I mean, I didn't miss any doctor's appointments or anything through her pregnancy, but we didn't live together. Maybe 2 months before he was born, she moved in with me. But anyways, we didn't get married until he was like 3 when we got married.
And how were you married to her throughout your 30s?
Well, we were only actually legally married for like 4 or 5 years because he might have been 2. He was 7 when we got divorced.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you because you mentioned a second ago that it got to the point where you had to make a choice to stay with her or be a weekend dad. So you stayed with her for quite a while, I'm assuming, when you weren't in love with her anymore.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I wasn't in love with her, obviously. When I met her, when she got pregnant, I didn't even know her.
So out of obligation, you kind of...
Out of obligation, I got with her to be with her because she had my son and I wanted my son full time. But I feel like I developed a love for her because she was the mother of my son.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I feel like I fell in love with her.
Yeah.
But, I don't think it was ever really reciprocated,
Yeah.
And, it wasn't.
So I've been getting this a lot lately. I've been having friends tell me this. I've heard it on TikTok. I've seen this a lot lately. And I feel like you're the perfect person to answer this question because of your experience. And I have my opinion on it too. And I feel like you're going to say the same thing. But I had a buddy tell me, he goes, man, I don't know if this is the girl. He's dating a girl and he's been with her for a while. And he says, she's perfect in this way, but this and this and this. I'm pretty sure this is not the girl that I want to spend the rest of my life with, but it would destroy her if I broke up with her. And that's his basis for staying. Step get involved, stuff like that, and says, I just don't want to hurt her, man. I couldn't live with myself if I hurt her. And so he's hanging in there. And I feel like you probably did that with her. What would you say to people like that's doing that?
I would say that even with my first wife, I left her like 3 or 4 times before I married her. I tried to leave her, and she was like, you can't leave me. You can't leave me. I can't do it on my own. I need you. I need you. I need you. And so I would come back. And she had a 3-year-old daughter when I started dating her that she had when she was 17. And I was the only father figure to her daughter. And so in that, although I had fun with her, I've already just described. I wasn't, she didn't clean house. She didn't cook. She didn't do, she didn't work. So, there was a lot of issues. I should have never married her. But I felt, even with her, I felt like, well, hell, I mean, what's she going to do without me? I mean, she needs me, and I can't hurt her. I don't want to hurt her. And so obviously I would say that in 2 marriages, I feel like I'm married largely out of obligation, and you see where I'm at. You know what I mean? So,
well, that's what I told him. I was like, man, hey, a lot of people waste large chunks of their time on people that they're not going to spend the rest of their life with, and they feel like they're just with them so they don't hurt them. I mean, that's noble and everything, and that's great that you're doing that. Like, it's good that you're being, I don't know if you call it chivalrous, that you're being with someone that just because you don't want to hurt them, that's great. But in the end, it's going to be worse for her and for you.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work.
If he doesn't think that that's who he wants to spend the rest of his life with, the sooner the better. If he's sure this is not who I want to spend the rest of my life with, the sooner the better. The sooner the better, break it off.
Well, and what I'm starting to realize the older I get is time goes by so fast the older you get. And you're one day you're in your 20s, you're in your early 20s, and then you do that kind of stuff because you think you've got a whole lot more time than what you have. Mm-hmm. But you don't. You don't have a whole lot of time, man. Time is over in the blink of an eye. Yeah. And then next thing you know it, you've wasted 10 years on somebody that was never going to work out in the first place. And then you're 30 trying to date. And that's hard, but not as hard as it could be. Then you're 40 trying to date.
Yeah.
Getting a little harder. And then you're 50 trying to date. Yeah. And that's real hard. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. And just like you right now, because I'm going to ask you some questions here, but I kind of want to know where you're at now, because you're able to give all this relationship advice, right?
Right.
And it's because of mistakes that you make, and you don't want to see people go through the same thing, but you're struggling right along with those people, right?
Absolutely.
With where you're at now.
Sure.
And I've seen this a lot lately. You're making videos of what you're going through now on TikTok and stuff like that, and people are admiring you because you're starting to follow your own advice. So where would you say at now and the struggles you're dealing with and trying to find the love of your life, and what do you want? What do you want out of a partner right now? Are you a little disgruntled?
Here's the thing. I haven't really even started looking for, somebody else. I just hadn't felt like I was ready to, I wasn't emotionally or mentally prepared yet to start looking for the next person, I'll flirt here and there, but it's just flirting. I'm just haven't felt like I was ready yet to take on another partner in my life. But I know that what I want for the future is I want somebody who wants the same stuff I want, that wants to, go to the lake on the weekends in the summertime and watch Christmas movies in the wintertime and, likes to eat, but not gorge themselves, that likes to...
You're saying you don't like fat girls. Is that what you're saying? I'm putting them on the spot, guys.
A medium build is pretty decent. Yeah. I try to take care of myself the best I can, and I want somebody that tries to take care of themselves the best they can.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a fitness, guru by any, when it comes to physicality, but somebody who cares, what their appearance is.
I can tell over the last, we're probably almost at a year knowing each other, aren't we? Or coming up on it. Maybe something like that. But I can tell ever since I've met you that you want to treat somebody right.
I want somebody to treat me right.
No, I know you want to treat somebody right. You want that girl that appreciates it, though.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what you're struggling to find.
Yes, I did a video saying I think I was talking about myself. I might have been just saying in general, but I want the Bonnie and Clyde, commitment. I want the You ever watch Natural Born Killers? You ever see that movie?
No.
Okay, you need to watch that movie.
I'd have to Google it because I might have seen. I'm bad with titles.
Woody Harrelson. It was from probably the late 80s, early 90s probably. Anyways, they were, the uncut or the cut version, they were dedicated to each other 1,000%. I want somebody who looks at me like I'm their king and me look at them like they're my queen, and that this is my person. If we show up at the club, we're showing up at the club together. If we show up at a barbecue, we're showing up together. If I show up somewhere and she's not with me, I want everybody to say, where's she at? Because
it's weird seeing you without her.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I want my best friend. I want my best friend that goes to work. I go to work. We could both come home in the evening. We've got, we're going to cook dinner, or we're going to go out to eat, or we're going to, whatever it is, we're doing it together. Do people need a part-time? Absolutely. But we spend so much of our time already at work that there's not that much time left.
No.
So I want my evenings but if she wants to have lunch with the girls on Saturday and then we have Saturday night, great. The point is, I want somebody who wants to spend as much time with me as I want to spend with them. And we don't even have to be doing anything in particular.
Yeah.
Just being together.
So I picked up something from your language when you were talking just a minute ago. You said you didn't think you were ready, and you were saying was a lot. You're saying past tense. Are you ready now?
I'm getting very close, very, very close to making that
jump.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to be premature about it because I don't want to hurt anybody else. I don't want to, I don't want to jump out there until I know I'm mentally and emotionally ready, because I don't want to start something and then pull back because, I thought I was ready, but I'm not. And then I've already led this person on and they're like, what's wrong with me? Well, nothing. I just wasn't ready. And people do that a lot. I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why you're so quick to cut people loose quickly if it's not going to work out. No personal hard feelings, nothing like that. It's just that, hey, this isn't going to work out in the long run. Right. It's because of the mistakes you made. Yeah. And that's why I feel like that's why you do your TikToks, is because you don't want to see people go through the same things
100%.
that you went through.
And, when I started the TikTok deal, in the beginning, it was just about advice for my son, and it's mushroomed, evolved into this, relationship, stuff, because I was giving my son advice on dating and the future and marriage and stuff like that. And somebody had popped off, you've been married 3 times. You have no right giving marriage advice. And I was like, bullshit. I've been married 3 times. I mean, if somebody's a drug addict, do you want somebody who's never done drugs trying to talk to them? Or do you want an ex-drug addict that's been through all of that bullshit? Is that who you want talking to him?
Yeah.
You want the guy with the experience. I've got the experience. So if you've got another guy that's been married for 50 years, he's going to have some advice too on how he kept it together.
How to maintain a relationship. Yes. Or maybe he doesn't either. I mean, I challenge anybody here that's listening to this that thinks that maybe Jason isn't the person to be given advice on this. I challenge you to go talk to a person that's in their 30s, 40s, 50s, that's only had one wife, and ask him relationship advice. I guarantee or dating advice. I guarantee he's going to have less to say about it because it just worked. You see what I'm saying? It's almost he got lucky to find the right one on the first time, because that's not.
Or maybe he thought it out better than I did.
And when he was younger. Yeah. I feel like there are people with different minds that's able to process things at a younger age than some of us, because I'm just like you. I struck out for a long, long time until I found the one, you know, but I'm also able to give a lot of things of what you should not do because of that, but a guy that's been married for 50 years, probably not going to be able to give you dating advice, because he's going to be like, well, I met my wife when I was 16 at the local pub and we've been together ever since. And this guy hasn't dated in 50 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be able to give you very good advice.
And a tremendous amount of my advice also comes from, I'm very observant, and friends of mine have always come to me for some reason for direction in their relationships. And,
me too. I've never understood why.
I don't know, but they have. And so, watching other people's relationships come together and fall apart and knowing exactly what went down, in that relationship, I maintain all that, I'm like, okay, I know what's getting ready to happen because I've seen this, I've seen this with 10 other couples. And if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And then they do it, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
Or they'll take my advice, they'll go the opposite direction, and it'll oftentimes pull back together,
Yeah. Yeah.
Why I haven't been able to do that in my own relationships, I can't.
Well, I think you are, though. I think you are doing that, but it just takes time. It takes patience. Like, you've developed the patience to do that right now.
Yeah.
And you've still got things in your life that you're trying to situate before you're able to give your full self to somebody else. So I think you're doing the right thing, just observing you and what we've talked about. I think you're doing the right thing. It just takes a little time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm excited. I know the listeners are excited for you to find that person and for you to be able to talk about how happy you are on here and stuff like that.
And I was madly, madly, madly in love with my third wife. I mean, madly in love with her.
Would you say you still are to an extent?
I'll probably never not love her.
Yeah.
And I would, for a long time, I would say, well, we didn't really have any major issues. It's just she wanted to live in 100 miles away where her grandkids and kids were. Other than that, we're perfect for each other. Other than that, we're great. But then I've heard other people come to me for advice and say things that are like, okay, we are perfect for each other. But then they would say something that whatever it was, their partner was not putting them first. And I'm like, you're not perfect for each other.
No, yeah.
If you were perfect for each other, then your partner would be putting you first. You would be the priority if you were perfect for each other. But we get along and we have all this stuff going on. But your partner doesn't respect you because your partner is not putting you first. And after I told several people that, I thought, well, I got to stop saying that me and my third wife were perfect for each other because we clearly weren't. She did not prioritize me. She moved. She went back to her hometown and gave up our marriage because she wanted to live there. So she's a great woman, but she wasn't perfect for me, clearly.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's what I was saying. Like, what you're going through now is what you need to do, but it's the hardest thing you've ever had to do.
Absolutely.
And so when you're giving people advice, you're not saying it's easy.
No.
You're just saying that you know what you need to do, and it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But you've got to make the decision for your future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to let go of somebody that you are in love with.
Yeah. Would you say this your last wife was you've loved her more than you've ever loved anybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just me in particular, I'm excited that you're following your own advice. You're setting a good example for our followers and for your followers on TikTok. And I know because of what you've gone through and all this pain you've gone through that you're going to find the right one. And I'm excited to hear about it on here. And we're going to talk about it, whether you want to or not. Maybe it's anonymously me.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, because I'm tired of saying it, so we need to know your name because anonymously is hard for me to say. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about it. And so just to wrap it up a little bit, where your TikTok's at now, do you still look at it and just, are you just kind of blown away with what it's come to still?
No, I'm really irritated with TikTok because I can put out 8 videos in one day, and 7 of them I'm answering somebody's question and giving some pretty solid advice, and that I think a lot of people could take something from. and it'll get 1,000 views. And then I'll post some nonsense video that doesn't do anything for anybody, and it'll get 30,000 views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? You know, and what I don't understand is the ratio of likes to views and shares to views can be the same percentage on those videos that get 1,000
Yep.
as the one that gets 30,000 views. The ratio, the percentage is the same.
Yeah.
So why? Why are they only pushing the nonsense? And I do the nonsense videos or the fun, what I try to do funny videos in hopes that maybe it'll draw somebody in as a follower because of it gets pushed, and then maybe they'll get to see one or two of my other videos. Yeah. But at 1,000 or 2,000 views, I've got 354,000 followers.
And there's no sense in you getting 1,000 views if you have that many followers.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, people that follow me say, I don't even see you on my following page hardly ever.
Yeah. I don't get the rhyme or reason behind it either, because I was trying to help you with your TikTok in the beginning too. And then I started studying your views and stuff like that, and studying your interaction rate and stuff like that. And you're right. You can have a video that has 20 to 30% interaction on it. Mm-hmm. And it tanks.
Yep.
But then, it'll do great. And then you can have another video that has like 40% interaction and it tanks.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. I don't know. Like, you think an algorithm, right? You think about an algorithm and you're thinking about it, and you think, okay, well, there's this line drawn in the sand, right? Mm-hmm. And with the algorithm, since it's a robot, basically, once you go past that line, then it does this.
You would think.
But there is no line. I don't understand it.
Colin Ray, he posted the exact same video 10 times back to back to back last night. He had done a video on depression that hardly got any views. And he was complaining in this video that I did a video that was, it needed to be seen. You know, there are tons of people that have depression, but TikTok doesn't want to push that video, even though the percentages are the same on interaction for that video as one of my stupid prison stories that gets 1 million views.
Yeah.
You push the stupid prison story, who cares? I mean, everybody likes hearing the prison stories. Great. But this other video was a good video too, and it served a purpose, to help somebody. And I don't remember, it wasn't very many views, a couple thousand maybe. It was really low.
Wow.
He's got 1.5 million followers.
Yeah.
So it's almost like TikTok algorithm knows if you are trying to do something to help humanity.
Well, outside of what you do or something, I don't get it. Just because, like, even when we try to promote the show,
But I built my following on advice.
Yeah,
that's how I built my following.
Yeah.
Was on answering people's questions with advice. That's how I got almost all 354,000 followers. Yet now they don't want to show those videos very often.
Yeah,
it's
silly. I don't understand it either. I don't think anybody understands it. Because if you could figure it out, then you could figure out what to do, but right. There is no rhyme or reason with it. But I know you appreciate your following that you do have. You feel like you're creating something with value, and you want more people to see it, and it's not happening. So,
oh yeah. I mean, shoot, if even just my, I realize 354,000, there may be, say 50,000 of them don't even get on TikTok anymore. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know. But even if my followers that follow me got to see the videos that I'm putting out, but when they're telling me I follow you and I don't even see you on my following page, I have to search your name to watch your videos. Well, who the hell? I mean, how many people do you go search their name every time you get on TikTok? Not very many. There's a few that you will. I haven't seen this guy. Let me search his name. But I mean, and I have some very loyal followers that do. They go search my name every time they get on TikTok to see if there's anything new that they missed, and they comment, they like on everything. I mean, I'm super appreciative of that. I'll never discount any amount of followers that I have. I just, like you said, if I feel like I'm putting out something that could benefit other people, I want it to have an opportunity to be seen.
You pop up on mine all the time, but that's just because since the beginning, I've liked every single thing that you do. So like you pop up on mine all the time. Right. So, I mean, I would recommend that for people if you really want to make sure someone, but then again, you look at it like I follow so many people and I like so many people's stuff that I almost feel like it's impossible to get all those people that I like inside of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost, it's like the way TikTok's set up, they need to figure something out to where your favorite people pop up more.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But because you just have 2 pages. And I've followed so many people now that I only scroll through the following page.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time for other creators.
For new people.
Yeah, because I follow so many people already. I want to see the people that I like, so I follow the following page.
Maybe that's why nobody new sees me. They're all on their following page.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you don't pop up. It's stupid, man. And it is easy to forget like you're following someone.
Yeah.
Because when you're on TikTok, you're not just looking for one person. Just like if someone wants to watch our podcast, they're not just scrolling through and they find us. They're going to go watch our podcast.
Right.
But when you're on TikTok, you're not going onto TikTok to say, "Oh, I wonder what the Str8shooter's doing today." Yeah. You pops up and goes, "Oh, there he is. I like that."
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get that.
It's a weird little thing that I think they need to figure out to kind of promote individuals a little better.
Yeah. I think I need to do some more. I need to do some crazy stuff. I think, there's been some other creators that have really exploded with following that they started out, they had a following, a couple 100,000, whatever. And then they started doing like outlandish stuff and boom, 2 million followers just by like Iron Sanctuary, he had a couple 100,000. Then he starts putting on women's clothing to, he wasn't like dressing up like a woman, but it was some like tutorial on putting he started doing that
to make a t-shirt or make a t-shirt into a dress or something. He started like doing that. Yeah.
And he went to 1 million like in a week or something like that.
Yeah. Well, lately he's been posting those fitness videos too, and he's losing followers over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, man. I guess people just don't like you stepping out of what you're supposed to be, what they think you're supposed to be doing. And Iron Sanctuary's, changed his life a little bit better.
Yeah.
I notice people get annoyed by me because I've lost 70, 80 pounds. And if I talk about it, people get like to where they're rolling their eyes and shit and stuff like that. Or if I'm looking at myself in a mirror, people roll their eyes. Yeah. And I don't understand why. I'm like, man, I'm not sitting here tooting my horn or being prideful or anything else like that, but I changed my life and I'm not trying to push it on you, but I want to show it myself. Yeah. And then people start hating on you instantly. I don't understand it, man. He's done great, dude. He looks phenomenal, dude. He looks good. That's hard to get there too. It's not easy, but he's been losing followers over it because Iron Sanctuary, don't you dare step out of what you're doing, But yeah, I mean, we can do crazy stuff, but here's the problem. I know you're going to rope me into it. You're gonna be like when you come in here sometimes like, Zach, let's do a video, and I'm like, shit, what are we doing now? Next thing you know, I'm gonna have my shirt tucked in and doing a crazy walk in front of the camera. I gotta grow the mustache back out for stuff like that.
It's already been done.
Yeah, I know. All right, so Isaac, I hope we made you happy. Isaac said he wanted longer episodes, so we're over an hour.
Cool.
So hope we made Isaac happy. If not, then you'll get over it, Isaac. I'm just kidding. We love you, buddy. All right, take us out, Jason.
All right. Well, you may not always agree with everything I say here, but one thing's for sure, always gonna shoot you straight.
You have been listening to The Str8shooter Show. Come back every Wednesday for new episodes.